Yo, 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 yo. What is up? Welcome to another commentary. This time it's finally um, Vault of the Wardens, since we finally got the footage for it. So let's jump right in. In case you didn't know, they did fix the pre-pot before you start the key. So if I would use a pre-pot now and then start the key, I wouldn't be able to use my Skystep afterwards, even though it wouldn't show that my Skystep is on cooldown. In case you didn't know. As you can see on the bottom right, I always play this pull with chest and belt. I pop here dancing on the far pack on the left. I wait quite long until I use my Vampiric Blood, you can see this here. And the reason for this is I want to get as much or as many plagues on the enemies as possible before I pop it, so the shield is as big as possible. This pull can be extremely scary, but luckily our DPS deal a lot of damage and I don't really have to deal that long with them until they die. So that was good. If your DPS don't deal as much damage, it might be better to go a bit smaller here and make it 2 pulls maybe, I don't know. But it can go south very very fast if the trash lives for too long, because the tank's gonna run out of cooldowns. This one I always play with wrists and shoulders, of course. You pull here the small ones with D&D so they don't rush at me. 1 Blood Boil and Vampiric Blood. I also pop a Rune Tap sometimes, so I don't get melee too hard in case they reach me. Yeah, I already have the shield from Vampiric Blood, so it was okay to run in. I didn't expect them to destroy the shield this fast, so that's why I procced here. And that's actually going to break my neck in a bit. But yeah, I mean, this mini boss is just quite scary, and yeah, you can see that I have dancing ready here. But if I would use it now, I probably wouldn't be able to use it in the next pull, and I absolutely need it. So yeah, this is why I didn't use it. Because the next pull would be probably impossible to do without dancing. This is almost the fucking demon debacle that I uploaded a long time ago. Luckily, we did manage to kill it. If you have a druid, your druid can also single target root this guy, and he'll be locked in place for a few seconds at least, so your tank will have a few seconds to recover. It doesn't help much, but sometimes it helps enough to get this guy killed. Now I equip my speed set with invisibility trinket. And we basically wait 30 seconds until it's ready. Especially when it's quaking, you have to watch out that quaking is not gonna get you out while you're in stealth, because that would fuck the pull. I always forget about this. I also forgot about this here as well. I was lucky that it didn't, that quaking didn't trigger in the time where I was stealthing through. Pull everything together. I always try to not use all my cooldowns at the same time. As you saw with my IBF, I used the IBF I think right about when I mass script them and not earlier. Because if you use all your cooldowns at the start of the pull, it's gonna go south very very fast if you don't have anything left for the actual mass grip. So just try to manage your cooldowns well. This pull for a tank isn't really that interesting. After you mass grip them, it's just running around, and the DPS have to focus on the Furies to not let them cast. If one cast goes through, it's basically GG. Yeah, I think you can actually dodge the charge from the Shadow Hunters here. If you're far enough, if you're super far away and you see them charging, you can strafe left or right, and with a bit of luck, they will miss you. But this is hard, if not impossible, to do if they are very close to you. So I still don't know what's the better way of dealing with them. Staying close but not on melee, or running super far away. I still don't know. I'm still trying to figure out. I think both works. You can see me here surviving even when I'm relatively close to them, so both is fine, I guess. Again, I try to use as few cooldowns as possible here, so I have dancing at least for this guy. One of the scariest bosses for me personally. I just pop dancing here right at the start so I don't proc instantly in case I'm unlucky with parry. And I also don't want to use any other cooldowns right at the start. We always try to interrupt him as late as possible so he doesn't smack me too early. If you have trouble with ad spawns, you can just do what I did here. Obviously this is just a prediction, it's not clear that the ads will spawn there, but I just try to put D&D around my ranges sometimes, so when the ads spawn they will instantly be on me and not run after my DPS. It kind of worked here, more or less. Also, you don't want to stay behind this well for too long, so whenever the chain is reaching the previous spot, you just want to go around the well as fast as possible and then stay here. It's just easier for everybody to position themselves when they don't have to squeeze themselves behind the well, because there's also line of sight, I believe, for the ranges. Good combination for Dark Strikes is Vampiric Blood and then AMS, because AMS is gonna have a way bigger shield if you use Vampiric Blood before you use AMS. Oh, I did proc here. I only used IBF here, I didn't use Rune Tap, even though I had it ready. Which is why I procced here, but this is the same thing what I said about the pull. If you use all your cooldowns at the same time just to survive one particular phase, it might break your neck in the long run. This is why I didn't use it. Now I have dancing up again. Good timing for the transition. Flower Boy died here. I think either I or I think Smog rested him, but I told him to not rest because I was scared of dying myself, and if that would have happened, it would have been GG. Which is actually going to be the case here. I was a bit stressed, which is you can see me here running literally inside of the fire. Like, I don't even know why I did that. I have no clue. But I also didn't move out of it. I literally died in the fire. So yeah, that was super bad. But it worked out. As you can see, I'm trying to go very very close to the wall so I don't run through the actual imps. Because I had no cooldowns except for Vampiric Blood, I believe. And yeah, if they melee you too hard, you're gonna be dead very, very fast. So I just try to let them chain pull on their own, so I don't have to deal with them. Sometimes this mini boss can be tricky with the ad spawns when your ranges are too spread out. And I don't know, I mean, as a DK with D&D it's quite easy to get the aggro. If you're not a DK, I don't know, it could be harder, I guess. But there's actually an indication, in case you didn't know, of when and where an ad is gonna spawn. You'll see that in a few seconds. It's a purple circle on the ground. I think it should appear any time now. There. Right here you see the purple circle, or mark, whatever. And this is where the imp spawns. So if you see this on the ground, just instantly pop your D&D if you have it ready, and your DPS won't get meleeed. I don't know how Smoke died there. Ah, I think he got hit by the fire. Yeah. By the way, if you didn't know, the imps actually give percentage. So the imps that keep spawning will still give you percentage. It's not much, it's like, I don't know, maybe 0.3 or 0.5, something around that. But it's actually quite funny, so technically you could be 100% just from this one mini-boss. If you wait long enough, which is probably not worth it. I'm gonna kill myself here and Devil as well, because we both procced. It's not that likely that I'm gonna die here as a tank in this boss, but I still feel like it's definitely worth it to spend the 5 to 10 seconds to reset your purgatory than dying for some stupid reason, whatever it may be, and wiping the whole group. And sometimes people say shit like, well, if you kill yourself this many times to reset your purgatory, this might gonna take away time that we need in the end. Well, yes, it could be, but to be honest, if the only reason, or if you think the only reason for why you fucked the key is because your tank died like 3 or 4 times for the purgatory reset, then there's definitely something wrong in the key already. It's not the tank's reset that breaks the key, for sure not. So don't be afraid to do that whenever it's needed, or whenever you don't feel safe. Here, you can see when the boss is casting this shit. If you put D&D down, okay, well this was a bad example here, but maybe you've noticed as a DK at least, when you put D&D down, you sometimes lose the buff that he gives you, or the debuff, which would lock a spell. You can see that right here. It removed the debuff instantly. I don't know why that is, but I figured out that when you place D&D, no matter when, as long as D&D is on the ground, the debuff will instantly disappear without locking any of your spells. Pretty nice, actually. I think we were lucky on the spawns here, yeah. It's the best combination. Yeah. On this mini-boss you can actually line of sight the meteor as a tank as well. If you're close enough to the wall here, you can just... yeah, that was super bad on my part. You could also see that Smog rooted it, so it wouldn't follow me when I go around the corner. I think the next one I'm gonna be able to line of sight. Or if there's gonna be a next one, I don't know. I think so. No, actually not. I mean, I probably skipped the second one because he definitely does more casts than just one, but it's whatever, like, you can just line of sight it. And now we go for the golem because of Bloodlust. You can see me here using the cloak. Honestly, I don't know if it's worth it using the cloak. I've been doing this boss for a long time without cloak. I just use it because it's easier for me to soak the big fire patches on the ground right before the intermission, because my AMS just lasts longer. And that's the only reason. Like, you can easily do this soak without the cloak as well. I just use it because I didn't feel like I'm gonna need the wrist anyways, so yeah, it's just more chill for me. If you didn't know, these fire patches here on the ground, when they reach an ad, this is what triggers the ad to explode. So if your tank is always soaking these, there's never gonna be an ad that explodes. Sometimes the spawns are just super scuffed and the ad spawns literally inside of a void, then it's just unlucky. But if you pay attention to this, you can definitely prevent your team from getting blasted by the big ones. I'm just gonna skip the rest because it's really, I don't know, there isn't anything interesting. You can see me putting a mark here. Because my DPS were crying about me not indicating enough to where I'm going to move the boss next. So I just chose to put a mark in every corner. I'm gonna do that in the boss fight, as you can see here. And I just told them on voice wherever I'm going to move. I think for the first time I'm gonna move to X. It was actually whatever because it was on me and I didn't notice it fast enough. As a DPS, if you have trouble surviving in this phase, you can actually jump off the edge and you won't take the radiation damage from the boss. You probably noticed that the hitbox for the boss soaking the balls is extremely tiny. So in order for you to not get blasted by the balls, you have to be exactly on the spot. Otherwise it doesn't work. This is why Devil died here. He was just slightly off the exact spot and he got fucking blasted by the ball. It's just unlucky. It's really... you can't really do anything about it. You just have to be... I think it's probably the easiest to basically put the camera in a spot where you look from the air on the ground, so you can see everything in a most clear way, I guess. I don't know how to put it. Shizik is gonna die as well here in this phase. I think he soaks a ball. Yeah, that comes from the right. I never use the first mirror that is going to point towards the mirror that has to be destroyed, for the reason that I don't know if we're actually going to kill the mirror in time if all my DPS have to jump down. And if it's not destroyed by the time where the boss reaches the mirror with its beam, and the mirror is going to beam into the enemy mirror, it's gonna be right because it's gonna be white because the enemy mirror is just gonna explode. So this is why I choose to not turn that one. This one you can skip quite easily. You can just stun it, run through, and then jump down, and it's not gonna follow you. It's just gonna sit on the top at the elevator and wait for you there. And I think it doesn't even go inside of the circle basically, so you can just kite it around. But here I just smelled it, so it's whatever. Since if you do it this way, with the pulse we do, you're always gonna have yeah, I actually forgot the light, so I had to take this one, and now we have two. If you do our pulse, you're not gonna have issues with trash. So the only thing you have to kill down here is the last spirit in front of the door, and that perfectly aligns with your percentage. Here I'm gonna throw my light to the spiders so they can see them, and we just walk past them. Same thing here. What? How did he die? Oof. Throw one shot at him, yikes. I always like to take the light myself as a tank because I don't want to rely on anybody else to soak the voids or to show me where I have to go with the boss when the walls spawn in the second phase or in the second intermission. As long as you stack here close to the boss, the glaive will never hit anybody on its way out, only on its way back. I stun first, they're just gonna stun second. You can also fear it. Yeah, Zmok still got one-shotted by the glaive. I'm just gonna skip through because there isn't much to talk about actually. I always try to soak the voids as fast as possible so they don't grow too big. I did run away from the Etia, which was a mistake. I wanted to soak the void, but we haven't killed that yet, so yeah, don't do that. This is the most scary part for me, when the walls appear and the boss is going to knock you back. This was actually very lucky with the wall spawns. It was very convenient, but if they spawn in a very bad way, yeah, it can fuck you if you get knocked into a wall. Yeah, that was Walled. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time, I guess.